Hello everyone! I was rewatching the Warcraft movie presentation that they had at BlizzCon, and someone asked if there was room for female heroes within the story. This got me thinking, and since we know that Durotan will play a role in the video, it's highly likely that we will see his mate Draka, Thrall's mother. I thought it'd be a good idea to explore what her story actually is and what she's done for the world. So let's find out, shall we? Not all orcs are born a warrior. Some need to fight for every bit of strength and skill that they can get. Draka as a child was very weak. She was pale, she was fragile, she coughed a lot. All in all, she was lucky to have been born within the Frostwolf clan. If she was born in a different clan, the Blackrock clan for example, then she would have been drowned at birth. Thankfully that was not the case, and she was allowed to grow up with her parents named Kelkar and Zura. One day, the Frostwolf clan had a guest. Blackhand of the Blackrock clan, who was there to discuss hunting rights. That day a fire broke out and young Draka, although small and weak, she tried to help her people. Instead of actually helping, she got in the way and Blackhand noticed how weak she was. He told Garad, chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, that she should have been drowned at birth, and Garad told him that this was not their way. After putting out the fires, Garad paid a visit to Draka's home and told her mother that they had to move to the outskirts of the encampment. The closer someone lives to the center of the camp, the higher their honor, and a child like Draka was dishonoring not just her family, but the whole Frostwolf clan. Draka knew that it was her fault that her family had to move, and for years she sat alone at the pond near her new home. There she was thinking, praying, asking the ancestors for guidance, until one day she made a decision. She asked Mother Kesher, who at the time was an elder shaman of the Frostwolf clan, to make her a potion, an elixir, a blessing, anything to change her, make her worthier of being in the Frostwolf clan. Things were now so bad that her family was forbidden to attend the Kosh-Ark festival, which is a holy festival for the orcs, where all the clans come together to celebrate the changing of the seasons and communicate with each other. She could not live with this shame, with this pain and dishonor, and she was willing to do anything to become a true Frostwolf. Mother Kesher communicated with the ancestors and they told Draka that there was a way. A small, dangerous, possibly deadly chance that she could change. Draka at this point didn't care anymore. She would rather die trying to become something proud and worthy than to simply exist, being no help to anyone. The challenge given to her was to collect 3 items. A warrior needs speed and grace, so she had to kill a windrock with her own hands and bring back a wing feather. A warrior needs the support of her clan, so she had to bring back the horn of a talbuk, a herd creature devoted to one another. A warrior needs strength and determination, so she had to bring back the fur of a cleft hoof. As I said at the start, not all orcs are born warriors, and Draka had no training, no hunting skills, no surviving skills. She had to find her own way in the wild, and although physically she wasn't the strongest, she was damn smart. She figured out how to make a shelter, how to build a fire, how to catch her own meal, and once she had figured that all out, it was time to take on the challenge given by Mother Kesher. She first faced off against the mighty Windrock, and she'd realized that every night this mighty bird went back to his nest within the Terrakar forest, so she waited it out and used the element of surprise to emerge victorious. Next was the Talbuk, and she realized that the strength of a Talbuk was not based on their individual strength, but because they fought together. She observed the herd for a while and she came up with a plan where she would snag out one out of the group and quickly kill it before the others even realized what had happened. She then remembered the lessons of her mother, made herself as big and scary as she could, and she scared off the rest of the herd, claiming her prize. Her final target to kill was the mighty Clefhoof, who was far stronger than the Talbuk or even the Windrock. She realized she'd have to come up with a plan and use all of her skills that she'd learned. She tied a rope around herself and taunted one of the mighty beasts. This enraged the beast and it started to charge towards her, but she managed to make him fall off the cliff while she safely hung by her rope. Now all she had to do was climb back up the mountain, make her way down and claim the final ingredient. With that, she'd done it. She had overcome the challenges, so it was time for her reward. She made her way back to Mother Kesher and asked her to make the potion that would turn her into a proud and strong Frostwolf warrior. Kesher was proud of Draka, but told her that she wouldn't make her this potion. She then took Draka to the pond where she had spent her youth praying, and she showed Draka what she had become. She herself had accomplished her goal, had gained the gifts of speed, grace, strength, determination, and the support of her clan. She was no longer the pale and weak Draka. She was now not a warrior born, but she was a warrior made. Made by her own hand. A few months later, she and her family joined the celebrations at the Kush-Ark festival. There, Orgrim Doomhammer, together with the future chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, Durotan, sat around a fire, and it was Orgrim who noticed Draka first. He told Durotan that if Draka was of his clan, he would have claimed her himself. And with that, Durotan looked and realized who exactly she was. Sick, fragile Draka, now a warrior. Draka turned her head and met his eyes steadily. Her nostrils flared and she sat up straighter, as if daring Durotan to look upon her with pity and compassion, rather than admiration and respect. No, this one did not need any pity. By the grace of the spirits, the healing of the shaman, and the power of the will he could see burning in her brown eyes, she had caused of her childhood frailty to mature into this vision of female orc perfection. Durotan dreamed of her that night, and the next morning he knew that she would be his. After all, he was the future chieftain of one of the proudest of orc clans. Who could say no to him? He asked her the next day to join him on a hunt, and in the orc culture, when a male and a female orc, when they are of age and they go hunting together, this is considered a courtship ritual, and as it turned out, Draka was one of those people who could say no. She actually told him no because she wasn't of age yet, and she made it sound more like an excuse than an actual reason. Durotan was not so easily pushed away, so he asked her to join him on a hunt. Not a courtship ritual, but as two proud warriors. To this, Draka agreed, and it was a great experience for both of them. Where Durotan could easily spot tracks, Draka saw more of the details within them. They complemented one another, and although Durotan was not one to pray, he did send a quick prayer to the spirits. Let this female look agreeably upon me. As they followed their prey, a great black wolf appeared who was following the same target as they were. Normally such a big wolf would require several orcs to bring it down, but Draka and Durotan, combining their skills, managed to win the fight. Durotan did get injured, Draka healed his wounds, and as she did, she smiled. "What is so funny? That I was not able to stand?" His voice was harsher than he had intended, and she looked up quickly, surprised at his tone. "Not at all. You fought well, Durotan. Many would have dropped their axe after such a blow." He felt oddly pleased by her comments, delivered as a factual statement rather than flattery. "Then, what amuses you?" She grinned, meeting his eyes evenly. "I know something, and you do not know it. But after this, I think I will tell you." He felt himself smiling too. "I am honored." "I told you yesterday that I was not of age for a courtship hunt." "True." "Well, when I said that, I knew I would soon come of age." "I see," he said, though he didn't, not quite. "Well, when will you come of age?" Her smile broadened. "Today," she said simply. He looked at her for a long moment, then, with no word, pulled her to him and kissed her. And so, Draka and Durotan became mates. Durotan became chieftain, and Draka stood at his side. After this moment, darker times followed, where Kil'jaeden found out that the Draenei were hiding on Draenor, and he manipulated the Orcs into doing his dirty work. As all of these changes were happening, like the forming of the Horde, trading shamanism for fel magic, magically aging their children, Draka and Durotan were powerless to stop it. They wanted to, but to speak out or try and change anything would have meant certain exile out of the Horde, and with exile came death. Durotan had a duty to his people, and Draka remained at his side. When all was said and done, when Kil'jaeden believed the Draenei to be dead, he left the Orcs to their fate. Their planet was corrupted, dried out, and they had to do something. It was at that moment that Medivh, under the influence of Sargeras, contacted Gul'dan and told him about Azeroth and how to make a portal to it. On that day, where they opened the portal, they summoned all of the Horde to the location now known as Hellfire. In front of all of them, a young Draenei child was standing at the gates. Draka told Durotan that she had seen children slaughtered in battle, and although she couldn't condone it, she could see how it happened amongst the heat of battle, but surely they wouldn't ritually slaughter a child like this. She was wrong. Very, very wrong. This was exactly what Gul'dan was going to do, and as he slit the throat of this young Draenei, Durotan screamed no. The word was ripped from Durotan's lips. Everyone turned to stare at him. He surged forward. If this new venture was opened by the blood of an innocent child, no good could come of it. He did not make it 3 steps before he was tackled and went down hard on the sun-baked earth. The instant it happened, he heard Draka utter her war cry and the clang of metal on metal as she charged. Chaos erupted. He struggled to his feet and beheld the crumpled form of the child. Blue blood spurted from the slashed throat. "Gul'dan, what have you done to us?" Durotan shrieked. But his protest was lost in the roar of an enraged mob of orcs. The frost wolves had sprung into action to defend their chieftain, and the shouts of battle were almost deafening. Durotan's breath was knocked out of his lungs as his attacker, he could not tell from what clan, resumed the fight. In defense, Durotan lifted his axe and swung. The other dodged, moving more swiftly than Durotan had expected, came up and... The tenor of the cries abruptly changed as the earth rumbled beneath their feet and a deep piercing sound shuddered along their bones. The fighting stopped, and as one the orcs turned to gaze at the portal. Moments before, one could look into the area outlined by the pillars and simply see more of the Hellfire Pensuela. Now there was a blackness and a swirl of stars, as if one were looking into a night sky gone mad. Even Durotan's eyes were riveted on the sight. As he watched, the blackness shimmered and reformed itself into a scene that both startled and puzzled him. There's a bit of a gap in the story after this moment, but what we do know is that Durotan amongst the other orcs were cheering for this portal. You have to understand that Outland was corrupted, dried out, the orcs were starving, they needed to do something, so even someone like Durotan was pro for the invasion. The next thing that we hear about Draka is after they step through the portal into Azeroth. Gul'dan in the meantime has exiled the Frostwolf clan, and I believe that this was for Durotan speaking out against him as he sacrificed his child. Durotan also found out about the Shadow Council, about Gul'dan's plans with the Horde, that it was all just a plan to give Gul'dan more power. He needed to do something against this, so he told his mate, he told Draka, that he was going to see the other war chiefs, that he was first going to meet with Orgrim, and he was going to tell about Gul'dan's duplicity. He told Draka that she needed to stay behind, that she needed to take care of their son, Thrall, but she refused. She slashed his face, she spit in it, and she told him that she was Draka, daughter of Kelkar, son of Rakish. No one forbids me to follow my mates, not even Durotan himself. I come with you, I stand by you, I shall die if need be. She spat at him. As he wiped the mixture of spittle and blood from his face, his heart swelled with love for his female. He had been right to choose her as his mate, to be the mother of his sons. Was there ever a more fortunate male in all of Orc history? He did not think so. Little did they know that their meeting with Orgrim would mean their deaths. They managed to tell Orgrim everything they knew, and Orgrim believed their word. He would take care of things, he would talk to the other chieftains, but for now, the Frostwolf clan, Durotan and Draka, they needed to lay low. He sent them away with one of his own, but that orc was a spy within Orgrim's clan, and he led Draka and Durotan right into the hands of Gul'dan's assassins. Before he could even grasp the hilt, the assassins were upon him. Dimly, Durotan heard Draka's shrill scream of rage, but could spare no instant to turn to her aid. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Sharptooth spring up on one of the intruders, knocking him to the earth. They had come silently, with none of the pride in the hunt that was so integral to Orcish honor. These were assassins, the lowest of the low, the worm beneath the foot. Except these worms were everywhere, and though their mouths remained closed in their unnatural silence, their weapons spoke with a purposeful tongue. An axe bit deep into Durotan's left thigh and he fell. Warm blood flowed down his leg as he twisted and reached with his bare hands, trying desperately to throttle his would-be murderer. He stared up into a face frighteningly devoid of good, honest orc rage, indeed of any emotion at all. His adversary lifted the axe again, and with every ounce of strength left to him, Durotan's hands closed on the orc's throat. Now the worm did show emotion as he dropped the axe, trying to pry Durotan's thick, powerful fingers from his neck. A brief, sharp howl, then silence. Sharptooth had fallen. Durotan did not need to look to see. He still heard his mate grunting obscenities at the orcs who, he knew, would slay her. And then a noise that sent fear shivering through him split the air. His infant son cry of terror. They shall not kill my son. The thought gave Durotan new strength, and with a roar, despite the lifeblood ebbing from the severed artery in his leg, he surged upward and managed to get his foe beneath his huge bulk. Now the assassin squirmed in genuine terror. Durotan pressed hard with both hands and felt the satisfying snap of neck beneath his palms. No, the voice belonged to the treasonous guard, the orc who had betrayed them. It was high, humanish with fear. No, I'm one of you. They are the target. Durotan looked up in time to see a huge assassin swing a blade almost bigger than he was in a smooth, precise arc. Doomhammer's personal guard didn't stand a chance. The sword sliced cleanly through the traitor's neck, and as the severed, bloody head flew past him, Durotan could still see the shock and surprise on the dead guard's face. He turned to defend his mate, but he was too late. Durotan cried aloud in fury and raw grief as he saw Draka's still body, hacked almost to pieces, lying on the fortress floor in a widening pool of blood. Her killer loomed over her and now turned his attention to Durotan. And so Draka's story ends. A fragile, pale child who turned herself into a warrior. A warrior who would become the mate of Durotan and give birth to Thrall. Thrall's journey would lead him to saving the world several times, and in the next expansion we're going to meet his parents and hopefully they'll do Draka justice and give her the part in the story that she deserves. The same goes for the coming WoW movie, but we can only wait and see what they're going to do with her. For now, that's the end of the story. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, guys. See ya!